All right, hello once again. This is Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College, and as part of the Rankin Technical College AWD 1000 Web Development Technologies class, I've been going through a series of video presentations that I'm creating based off of the Mozilla Developer Network Learn Web Development series. I'm in the JavaScript portion, and we're talking about client-side web APIs. And right now we're about to go into the third-party APIs. And again, previously, all of the APIs or application program interfaces that were discussed were internal or browser-based APIs. And as it says, not all are. I mean, things as complex as Google Maps or Twitter or Facebook, etc. And there's other ones as well. So there's a very obvious statement. Third-party APIs are produced by third parties. So they're not built into the system itself. As it says, they allow you to access their functionality via JavaScript and use it on your site. So it says, let's look at a simple Mapquest API example. All right. Well, you've already seen this kind of thing, and I can zoom in, I can zoom out. I can, for example, let's say that I want to go to, I want to click here. All right, I can, so again, I can do whatever I want to do. And you see that the page in real time basically is redrawing itself. In fact, let's take this one. Let's put it into a new tab. So we've got it. And so I don't have to constantly be switching back and forth between these. Okay. It says you might want to just get all the code examples at once, in which case you can just search the repo for the example files needed for each section. And now that I think about that, when they say get all the code files at once, probably what I should have done, well, let's see, where is that? Let's get open your computer's command prompt. Yeah. Clone github.com. Let's see if I can find this. Okay, so I think that probably I can go back in there and find the couple of errors that I have in my code, all right, and maybe go back and fix those. I'll try to remember to do that after the lecture that I'm on right now. Okay, I know, like I said, not my goal here to waste a lot of time doing this. So, browser APIs are built into the browser. As it says, you can access them via JavaScript immediately, and they give an example. Third-party APIs, on the other hand, are located on third-party servers. So to access them, you need to connect to the API functionality to make it available on your page. Now, it says this typically involves first linking to a JavaScript library. And yeah, that's quite often true. It may also mean that in order to be able to use one of these products, you may or may not have to go and log in, get an account with them, or whatever. The open weather example that I showed you previously, you need an account to be able to actually go in there and put in your own, your own stuff. And we do a lot of that stuff. We will be doing an assignment like that with Node.js in the AWD 1111 class. I've done assignments like that, creating an Android app in the AWD 1112 class. Okay, all right. So as it says, once you typically go and you add what's necessary, you can go in and begin to use objects available in that library. And as they mention here, it says, here we are creating a variable to store the map information. All right, there you go. Then creating a new map, all right, based on the Mapquest.map information which takes its parameters, as it says, the ID of a div element that you want to display the map into. All right, it says this is all the information that Mapquest needs to plot a single map. All right, and I'm not positive, but my guess is when you're going through this, these are some kind of latitudinal and longitudinal type of coordinates. All right, so it says the server that you are connecting to handles all the complicated stuff. like displaying the correct map for whatever is being shown, etc. See the note here, and as it says, some APIs handle access to their functionality slightly differently, requiring the developer to make a request using a specific URL pattern to retrieve these. And these are known as RESTful APIs, all right, which I believe is representational state transfer. We're going to get into that later, as they mention. All right. Security for browser APIs typically is handled internally. Let's put it that way. The purpose of these, as it says, is so that the user knows what's going on and they're less likely to do something they don't want to actually do, or you're not able to put things into something that you create that you shouldn't be able to do. Third-party APIs, as it says, have a different permission system, and they do. All right. That said, they tend to use developer keys. This is what I mentioned to you earlier. And sometimes it's even more than that. To get a key, you may have to sign up for some kind of a service. All right. Okay. So it says, this is, which is more to protect the API vendor than the user. They don't want to allow you to do something that you shouldn't be able to do, and then, wow, I can do this, and look at this. I put my own hack in here, and I did this kind of an idea. Where if I put that out on the system, then what's going to happen is that API is going to get a bad name. All right. Okay, so they show us a very simple line, and it won't be your API key here. It'll be a series of letters and digits typically. And as it says, it supplies an API or developer key to use in the application. The developer must get the key and include it in their code in order to be able to use it. All right. Now, it says when creating your own examples, you'll use your own API key in place of any placeholder, and that's true. Other APIs may require that you include the key in a different way, but the pattern is similar in most, if not all of them. All right. Requiring a key enables the API provider to hold users of the API accountable for their actions. What you are doing, I have likened an API or an application program interface in the past. I have likened it to a contract. All right. And with a contract, remember what you're doing is the API is providing the services, and you are agreeing to use the services in the way they are meant to be served or to be used. All right. So as it says, when a developer is registered for a key, they are known to the API provider, and action can be taken if they start doing something they shouldn't do. And often too, when you sign up, they'll ask if you've read their terms and conditions, and basically that's what you're agreeing with. The easiest action, as it says, would be to just revoke their API privileges so they couldn't use it anymore. All right. I'm not sure where we are time-wise in here. We're not bad at all. Let's see if we can do a little bit of work with this. So it says, let's make ourselves a copy of the Mapquest starter file. All right, we've done this kind of thing before. Not a real big file, only about 40 lines. All right, so I'm going to create it in here. And I'm going to save it onto my desktop as Mapquest starter file. Mapquest starter.html. I think that's what they called it. Let's double check. No, it's called starterfile.html. All right, let me change that. So let me close what I have. First, let me create a folder that I'm going to call Mapquest. Now let me grab that Mapquest starter that we just put in here. I'll put it right there. I'll come in here, and I'm going to change this to starter-file. Okay, and we'll reopen it. All right, so that's what they gave us. And again, This is what we're going to have to fix. Once we fix it, we should be able to come in and change these coordinates. All right, so let's see if indeed that's going to be the case. So in a new directory, I've done that. I'm not going to clone that. So next we need to go to the Mapquest developer site. I don't know if I have an account on here or not. I'm going to guess that I don't. So I'm going to sign up. I'll know real quick whether or not I have one. And I'm going to put in here JP Scott Rankin. All right, JP Scott, oops, at rankin.edu. Jeff Scott, Rankin Technical College, whoops. All right, password, let's see. Yeah, I don't like that, so let's see. Yeah, come on. Okay. Hopefully I made them the same. I think I did. Again, notice by registering, you are agreeing to their local terms and conditions and privacy policy. I don't need the email and updates, so I'm going to do that. And I'm going to click sign me up. Now, if I do have an account already, which I don't believe I do, I should get some kind of a message from them. All right, I will save it. And I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I will get rid of this key afterwards, but I'm going to create a new key. All right, so let's see. Well, I should be following their instructions. All right, I went in there, I created an account, then created a developer key to use for your example. At the time of this writing, it was called a consumer key on the site, and the creation process also asked for an optional callback URL. You don't need to fill that in, just leave it blank. All right. So let's see, I've gone through this. Well, it says there. Well, let's try that. All right. Open up your starter file and replace the API key holder with placeholder with your key. Okay. Done. There are a number of different types of maps that can be shown by Mapquest. All right. To do this, find the following line. Find this line, which should be in there right now, right here. And they want us to change this line from map to hybrid. So they want us to make that change right there. All right. Try changing map to hybrid to show that. Try other files, others too. The tile layer reference page shows some of the available options. You can look at that on your own. All right. The map has a number of different controls available. By default, it just shows the zoom control. You can expand that by using map.add control. Add this code inside of your onload handler. Well, that's in the onload handler. I'm going to try putting it at the bottom here. There are other types of controls available, and they give you some examples. All right. Adding a marker or icon at a certain point is just as easy. You use the LMarker method, which seems to be documented in the, okay, so add the following code to your example, again, inside of the window onload. All right, we now have that, so let me move this over a tad. Okay, it looks a little better, I think. And I'm trying to look here. All right, probably isn't lined up correctly, but it still should be okay. As you can see, at its simplest, this takes two parameters, an array with the coordinates that you wish to display at the marker, etc. All right, and an object containing an icon property, which is defined using a Mapquest icons marker, as it says, which shows such things as color and size of the marker. Onto the end of that, we chain the bind pop-up, which says where we want to display. Finally, we chain add to map to the end of the chain to actually add the marker to the map. It says have a play with the other options. No, that's fine. All right, if you have trouble getting the example to work, check this against the finished version. All right, as it says, it's right there. All right, so I'm going to try it. The chances of it working, with knowing the luck I've had lately, are probably not that great, but we'll try it anyway. So I'm going to save this. And let's come into here. I don't know if we can run it directly from here or not. Wow, look at that. It worked. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to try something. This is way over and above, but we're just about finished right here. So I'm going to put down latitude and longitude for Wentzville, Missouri. And it tells me we've got this. Again, I'm not even sure if those are the right coordinates, but I think that that's what they're asking for there. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to try this. And again, if I'm totally hosed and totally wrong here, then I am. All right. I'm going to try it without the north and the west. And I just want to see if that changes anything in what I've done. All right. So again, it might break it too. So there it is. Refresh. It didn't change a flaming thing, it looks like. All right, so there's got to be something else in there. I did save. Oh, we've got this. That's map. So I've got to change it here, I would think, as well. All right. Again, if it breaks it, just forget I did this. All right. Well, it does. You can see it doesn't like it. Now I can check because this one had north and this one had west, but I don't think that that's going to fix it. I'd have to do some more investigatory work on this myself. So I probably shouldn't have just come in here and done that. All right. This isn't even doing anything, probably because I put the N and the W in there. All right. But it didn't like what I gave it here. How's that? So let's change this. This is the one that worked. And that's what I tried to put in. And again, it didn't like it. I'm just going to get it back to the same thing. All right. I was able to get it to work on mine, which I guess is a victory into and of itself. All right. So, but what about Google Maps? Well, let's quickly finish this, and then we're going to stop the tape and go on to the RESTful API NY Times in just a minute. Google Maps is arguably the most popular Maps API, so why didn't we use that for the example? It says we did create an example to show how to use it, but in the end we went with Mapquest for two reasons. Number one, it's easier to get started with. For Google APIs in general, you need a Google account and a bunch of other stuff. Second, we wanted to show that there's alternates available. That's it for this one. We'll come back and look at the RESTful API for the New York Times momentarily.